Four hosts, they bout to wreck shit like Marco. Addicted to the Giants like it's Netflix and Narcos. The CEO making big moves as per usual. Captain Negative calling everybody delusional. This podcast is Overhaul. Like when you take a piss, so share the link and pass it. Like Benjamin making splits. And Mr. Make-A-Wish, the sophisticated click. I spit offensive lines, now Tim can take a sip of some beer. Because he likes the taste of it, right? Don't forget the New York Giants beat the Patriots twice. The sickest dudes, eating chips and salsa like it's Victor Cruz. Win or lose, always gonna root for Big Blue. It's true, this is a classic show. Tyree, catch it, bro. Play a drinking game while you listen and call it Plaxico. Take a couple shots. If it's funny, you can rewind to Bleedbigblue. Means it's in their jeans like Levi's. Eli, man in the shit, just like a sailor. Captain, we attacking bum rush like Lawrence Taylor. Podcast on point, the sharp as arrows. BBG, stay gritty like Mark Bavaro.
What is up, everyone? What is up, everyone? Another Wednesday night. We are here again. Tons of New York Giants news to go over. That's actually a lie. There's not. I have the captain on the line. I see people are already in the chat. I see the phone lines have a little action going on as well. James.
Oh.
Good evening.
Phone lines are ready.
You want to go?
Phone lines are ready. Wow. All right.
Let's jump on into it.
I wonder if they want to talk about Game of Thrones or the power rankings.
Let's go to Game of Thrones. Ready? 603. What's going on, brother? Where you calling from?
Charleston, South Carolina.
What's going on, Justin? What did you think? Let's go all Game of Thrones this episode. Tell me about Daenerys.
I haven't even fucking watched Game of Thrones.
What?
I'm
come on, man.
I know.
All right, I guess we'll talk about the Giants.
Fine.
Yeah. All right, so I got a question. If you were to rank our O-line right now, out of all the 32 teams, where do you think we'd be at right now? I know it's hard to say because the season hasn't started yet, but if you were to give a guess, where would you say we were?
Probably right in the middle, right? I mean, I think that when you look at it, there's potential. There's some question marks.
Right.
You wonder how they're going to gel together. You wonder about depth because these guys aren't, invincible. Like somebody can get hurt. So, like Remmers, I like. I think he's a nice little stopgap for the position. I still would have wish they would have addressed it earlier in the draft. But he's a guy that is at least serviceable. Now he's not an all-pro. Like you didn't bring in an all-pro right tackle. You brought in a guy that played right guard last year, has a history at right tackle, which is good, and now he's going back to the position because it fits. Solder is still a question mark, right? I mean, I don't know that he's never been one of the top left tackles in the league. He's always been a good left tackle. So,
he looked really solid with the Patriots.
Well, did he? Like, he never made an all-pro team. Like, he never went to the Pro Bowl. Like, he was just a guy. And the Patriots had no problem getting rid of him and really didn't miss a beat when he left. So, like, serviceable at left tackle, serviceable at right tackle, a lot of potential at left guard. Zeitler is probably the best offensive lineman that you have right now, hands down. And to me, the center position is still a question mark. So I would say you're a lot happier about the offensive line now than you were weeks ago. You're a shit ton happier about the offensive line at this point this year than you were last year. But let's pump the brakes on exactly how good they could be. I think that they got to get in there. They got to gel together. That's going to take a little time to do. The potential is there to have a solid, serviceable unit. But to me, there's still some question marks with the actual pieces, and the depth is a problem for me as well. So I put them maybe in the middle to the lower third of the league, and then hopefully they can prove us all wrong.
I think.
Hope so.
I think at the end of the year last year, after all the movement was done, I think they were middle of the pack.
They weren't as bad as we made them out to be. I mean, they were playoff teams that had offensive lines that were worse than ours. So, to me, like the offensive line, great. They've solidified it in a lot of the fans' eyes. It's going to be, that all the problems are fixed now. And I think that when the season starts, we're going to have a lot of the same issues because I don't know that the quarterback play is really up to par in order to really take you to the next level in the league. So we'll see what they can do with that offensive line. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not better. On paper, it's better than it was a year ago. It's upgraded, and they look like they actually have a complete 5 guys. But some questions about those 5 guys. Putting on a blue jersey is not a cure-all, right? These guys still have some question marks. So potential, a lot better than it was.
Right.
Still some question marks. Depth is an issue, but I mean, they're going in the right direction.
I like
I don't know
the
how they let Gillen test at 17.
I like the Remmers contract
because Eli doesn't have wheels, but like everyone knows that Jones, sort of he's a little mobile, pretty. I'd say a little bit more average, kind of like a Josh Allen status mobile in terms of the medium-sized quarterbacks,
Well, what do you – so – and this is really what it comes down to is to tell you the truth, I'm all for playing Jones from day one. I didn't agree with the pick. I don't like him. I don't think he's going to be very good. But if you took him at 6, play the kid. But here's the deal. So if you go to Jones, what you're doing is you're getting those missing pieces that Eli doesn't have, right? You're getting the little mobility. You're getting some upside in the fact that he's going to play and gain experience and work out some of these learning curves that young quarterbacks have to go through. You're getting that stuff out of the way earlier. He brings some things to the table that Eli doesn't. But on the flip side of that coin, you better be prepared to watch some bad football because the things that Eli does do well, a young quarterback is not going to do well. And that's getting you into the right protections and getting you into the right plays. And so the Giants right now are in, we say purgatory because what you're getting from the veteran quarterback is light years beyond minus the legs, right? What Jones can do with his legs. Everything else you would say probably you would give the tip to Eli. You would say that right now Eli has a little bit of an edge, and he should. For other than mobility at 18 years, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, you would hope that he would have more checks in his boxes than Daniel Jones, right? But what the point becoming is that does that do anything for this team right now? Are they better off going through the learning curves with Jones and using his legs to maybe counter some of the hiccups a young quarterback may go into, but he's gaining that experience by playing, and that's the conundrum that the Giants are in right now. I think they're 2 completely different quarterbacks. You're getting a completely different – it's a 180. You're getting a completely different quarterback with Eli Manning than you're getting from Daniel Jones. It's just which way is the franchise going? And that's the question that we're going to ask.
What I really meant more of that question by was that, considering the fact that Eli can't, escape the pocket for shit compared to other quarterbacks, is that, is our offensive line really as bad as it would be if it was any other quarterback, behind, the center?
No. And that was my point, and you got a great. That's going into. That's basically what we were talking about last year, was that the line. Yeah, the line was it perfect? No. What was it? The way we wanted it to be, or the way we could have maybe done some other things to make it better? Probably. There was a host of different things they could have probably did to make that line a little bit better last year, right? It was a matter of I think that it goes back to a little bit of what McAdoo said, right? I think McAdoo said that, Eli needs to have a little bit of quicker feet, and that, these quarterbacks are making plays from ugly pockets, right? Like the all around the league, quarterbacks are having to deal with these pockets that are caving in on them, but they're able to manipulate it by sliding, feeling the pressure, using their legs to at least move to be able to make a throw. And I think that that's what he was signaling. And I think last year was clearly evident of that Eli is unable to do that. And the line, for its problems that it had, it wasn't nearly as bad as it was made out to be because of the quarterback not being able to move at all. And it'll be interesting this year to see if that's used as an excuse if they struggle early, where maybe Giant fans now start putting 2 and 2 together and saying, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't the line, maybe it is the quarterback, and the calls for Jones start coming.
think it's going to happen.
Thanks for answering my question, guys.
Yeah, no problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
man. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Yep.
South
So-
Carolina. What do you think the weather is down there, Marcos?
It's probably
nice,
beautiful.
right?
Probably beautiful. Nice
Gorgeous,
and
I would imagine.
nice
Yeah.
and sunny. Maybe mid to high 70s. Maybe a little higher.
I would think they were in the 70s. Yeah, right now probably around like what, high 60s, right? Chilling outside, hanging out, beautiful. Oh.
So I
Okay.
did. I
was
did.
thinking about it.
I did the Instagram Q&A and the Facebook Q&As, and like one of the questions was, where do you see the Giants like record wise based on like the draft and the free agency, the whole deal. And I said I don't think the team's improved, and people were killing me. And then I did a poll, and everyone seemed to agree with me. I still have them as a 5-win team. I just don't see it.
I'm right there. I think they're going to struggle to win. I see people say 8-8, 9-7. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time unless they surprise me finding 6 wins on there. I can argue 6 if I really wanted to, but I just I'm really not trying to be negative, and I really wish I didn't feel this way, but I don't really see a light at the end of this tunnel. Unless Jones is a player, there's no light at the end of this tunnel. And that's why I'm so for let's see Jones, because if you took him at 6, then give me a little intrigue and a little hope that the kid can prove me wrong and get better, and we start building around this kid for the next 4 or 5 years, as opposed to just fucking banging our head against the wall with the same type of football with Eli Manning playing later on in his career. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, there's definitely talent on the team. I think the offensive line is better. The secondary on paper is better, but the defense as a whole, it looks like we're going to be starting 9 new players on defense.
And I don't mind. See, if Daniel Jones is playing, I don't mind that. Right? Like I can't understand how you look at this roster and what you're about to do and what you're about to trot onto the field and say to yourself, yeah, Eli, let's roll. Right? I don't see how, like, to me, you're setting Eli up for tremendous failure. Mm-hmm. And if you think that you've put a team around him that can compete for a Super Bowl and you're going to have a last laugh, good luck, right? Because if this thing gets to late October, November, and they're struggling, this is going to look really bad for Eli, because they're going to have to go to numbers. And Eli is going to sit on the bench for the last half of the year or the last 5-6 games of the year. And that's not the way that he probably wants this situation to go out, but it's what the Giants are going to have to do. And if they don't do that now, they could have got away with that with a Webb or a Lalletta on the roster, but you can't get away with that now. You took him at 6, right? If you're struggling, he has to play. Eli has to be winning games and playing at an all-pro level. If they're winning games in spite of Eli Manning, you have to go to Daniel Jones. So, like, to me, that they're putting Eli in a very difficult situation, maybe a worse situation than he has been in the last couple of years, and I don't necessarily mind that. That doesn't matter to me, but you have to be willing to look at the situation and go, hey, we got a bunch of young kids on this team. We're expecting the second-year kids to take a leap, but even that, do we expect the second-year kids to take a leap and carry all these young rookies in the secondary? Is Bethea good enough to carry these rookies in the secondary? Do we have enough of a pass rush that we don't have to manufacture by blitzing all the time? Like, can we get to the quarterback with a foot? Like, there's still pieces that are missing. So when you look at the assessment, are you better if you're saying you don't have a Super Bowl team now, and you have to go through these learning pains with the defense? Then why not go through the learning pains with the young quarterback and save yourself? Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to waste time. You're not going to find out about Daniel Jones. The defense is going to be up to speed, ready to go next year, and they're going to be covering for a bad quarterback or that's just trying to come up to speed because he didn't have time to progress and take the lumps in his rookie season. So I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know what that's going to be. I don't think we're going to know until mid-October, but it's the frustrating part of being a Giants fan right now. They seem to be going in 2 different directions.
Let's see. We got a few funny comments, and here we go. Phone line again. You ready to get yelled at?
Let's see if it's a Game of Thrones question.
We take those as well.
Maybe the Thrones in it up. Yeah, we
Seven
take
three
Thrones question.
732. What's going on, brother?
Who's on the
Hey,
throne?
fellas, what's going on? I was just calling to listen. I'm out here barbecuing in San Diego. My bad.
Sandy. Oh, we're going.
You
We're
know
going
what?
across.
You son of a bitch. You're gonna call us? Hold on a minute. I got a bone to pick with this guy. How are you
Hey, I
gonna
spent
call
18
us?
years in Staten Island, bro.
But still, though, hold on, wait a minute. How are you gonna call us, right? And tell us you could have listened on the stream. You called us to say I just called to listen, but I'm barbecuing here in San Diego.
I heard you talking about Carolina. I had to show them up.
There you go. All right.
Unbelievable.
First question up.
We were just talking about the weather in South Carolina. What's the weather in San Diego? Paint us a picture. San Diego. By the way, it means whale's vagina.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego, right?
There you go, right? A little Ron Burgundy for you.
It's actually pretty cloudy, man, and it's not like that a lot. So,
All right.
hey, man, I want to let you know I agree with almost everything you said, but aren't we investing in Eli this year? It's pretty much like Gettleman told us, look.
They have to, yeah.
We didn't have a line for 2 years. Now we're finally trying to get dirty in the trenches. Let's try and do something. I mean, I don't like the team either, bro. I'm a 5-11 guy. You can see my comments on the thing. I'm a 5-11 guy too, but I am definitely they invested in Eli, but they took away one of his greatest weapons. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. What the fuck are we doing?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. And that's my thing. And I didn't have a problem with trading Odell because to me that signaled a rebuild and you were trying to get picks and stuff like that. But if that's the case, then why pay Eli Manning $17 million? If you were going to take Daniel Jones, or $22 million, if you're going to take Daniel Jones, couldn't that money have been used to maybe go out and sign a couple of players like I don't know, be in the mix for Barr, who went back to Minnesota, or who's the guy the Jets got from Baltimore, the linebacker. Why is his name escaping me? No, not Suggs.
It's not
the younger one. The Marcos. You know what I'm talking about. His name just completely split my mind.
Mine as well.
But why
Someone will put it in the chat.
Somebody will let us know. But my point being is that money could have been used on maybe a right tackle that's better than Remmers, on maybe a secondary player who's better than Bethea, on, I don't know, maybe say Landon Collins. So
CJ Mosley.
So many different things. There you go, CJ Mosley. Thank you. Whoever said that, gold star. Thank you. That's the name.
First one up was Kevin Santana, Mosley. You get the gold star.
There you go. Thank you, Kevin. Yes, gold star for Kevin. Thank you much, buddy, because that completely split my mind. But that was, and it didn't have to be Mosley, but there was a bunch of guys in free agency that were upgrades over the players that we had on our roster. There were some guys in free agency. There were some guys in free agency that were coming out of that first contract where they were really attractive in their mid to late 20 range that you could have got a hold of them and maybe you're getting their upside. And that $17 million, that $22 million could have been used somewhere else. And you could have played Daniel Jones and got the best of both worlds with the quarterback taking his lumps and having some solid pieces for your future. Instead, they don't have that.
Yeah, more than one.
And they've sold us now, and this is the going back and forth that you were referring to, is like you make the move for Beckham, it's like a step forward to say, okay, we're going to rebuild, and then you sign Golden Tate, which you figure a 30-year-old receiver on a 4-year contract, you're doing that because you think he can help you win now, right? You draft Daniel Jones at 6, that figures that you're looking for the future. You trade Harrison, you trade all these guys, you acquire some picks, you're looking at a culture change, but you keep Jenkins. Right, there's just so many different things where
Nothing
it's
against
just
those
back
guys or
and
anything
forth.
either. They're good players.
No, 100%. But they didn't. And I was one of the guys. I'm not bashing those trades, right? Like I was one of the guys that last year, Marco will tell you that I was one of the guys saying sell. Like if we're not good, sell and acquire picks. But if you're going to sell and acquire picks, that means you're rebuilding and you're doing it to get some cap relief. You don't turn around and sign Golden Tate at 30 years, who's a win-now move, or Antoine Bethea at 33 years old or 34 years old, whatever age he is, to come in and try to be a stopgap guy because you think you're going to compete now. You wipe the deck clean. You free the cap up. You acquire all your draft picks. You make smart moves by letting free agency player goes and acquiring comp picks, and you get yourself in a position to where when the players are there and you have the cap space, you could attack with your loaded drafts that you have.
Well, they did free the cap up. It's just next
year. They
year.
didn't go all the way. They just half-assed it. That's the frustrating part.
And I would be surprised if Jenkins makes it the whole year.
Well,
especially if we start off.
You talk about a culture change, and then they have Jenkins still in the locker room like that. Like to me, like it's another half-assed thing. And I don't have a huge problem with Jenkins. I have some issues with him. But if you're signaling a culture change, right, and you're talking about a culture change, and then you're going to tell me that you're paying Jenkins $14 million this year, and I know Jenkins plays corner. Okay, and I value the cornerback position more than I do the safety position. But considering that, if you're going to preach culture and you're going to tell me that you can invest $14 million in Jenkins, then last year when the time was right, you could have very easily invested $9 to $10 million in Landon Collins, who was actually a guy that maybe you wanted to keep for that culture, as opposed to say a Janoris Jenkins. So I'm in the middle. Guys. As soon as I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
The biggest question in the chat right now is what's on the grill?
Yeah, you go. What's he grilling
Oh,
up?
man,
Take a walk to your grill.
I hate to be a basic bitch, but just burgers.
All right. Okay. Well, what kind of burgers? Are that you just plain burgers it up? You got some smokehouse cabin burgers? Have you?
They do have some Italian
them?
breadcrumbs in them, and the paprika,
Okay.
smoked paprika. So they ain't no schlub ones, but
a little paprika, a little Italian
Look
seasoning.
at you spicing it up a little bit. All right. You get it.
Okay.
What's your biggest?
I get it.
What's your biggest gripe in the draft? My biggest gripe in the draft is working the board. We could have got what? Josh Allen at 6, maybe trade for Rosen, and everything else could have panned out the way it did. And I'm still happy.
First round.
I like Dexter Lawrence. I like Baker.
I think my problem was the first round. And it stemmed from how they it stemmed from how they handled 6. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I just to me like one thing led to another. And I don't like you got rid of snacks. Like to me in today's NFL there are certain positions that are like no-brainers, right? You need your quarterback, you need your left tackle, you need your pass rushers, you need your cornerback. Right, there are certain positions that are non-negotiable. I don't know that a run stopper, who I really don't know can rush the passer on third downs in the NFL, is really a guy that I would have taken at 17 there when I have a huge gap at right tackle, and there's a guy like Dillard on the board, or I have a huge need at pass rush and Sweat's on the board. Right, so I think that it goes much to the Barkley pick where, you can sell me on the player, but where you took him, much like Daniel Jones. If you would have told me that they would have taken Josh Allen at 6, and then a combination of Dillard or Sweat at 17, and then used the ammo that they got later in the round to trade up
to get Jones?
Acquired Jones that late, I could live with it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I
can live with it. If they did what they had to do on those 2 picks and walked away with Jones and a right tackle, or Jones and another pass rusher. I'm sorry, not Jones. Allen and a pass rusher, or Allen and a tackle, or Allen and Baker at 17. Because I don't think that was out of the question. I think Baker was a steal at 30. If you would have taken Baker at 17, I wouldn't have had a fucking problem with it because of the fact that he was PFF's 16th ranked player in the draft. Right? I think that he dropped a little bit due to the fact that he has a personality that he's going to let you know that you can't get open on him. Right? So there's a little controversy surrounding the guy. But talent-wise, if you would have walked away with Josh Allen, Baker at 17, and Josh Rosen, you're not complaining. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think my thing was how it all trickled down from 6. And I think there was a way that you could have made 6 even more livable if you would have used that pick on, say, Dillard or Sweat instead of a Lawrence, and I don't have a problem with Baker. So that's my – like, I like the rest of the draft. There's some players that I like. Conley I like, Ballantyne I like, Love I like. I think there's some talent there that maybe you can get lucky with. But it's hard for me to go 100%. I love the draft because of those little. I look at the first couple of picks and I go, and the first couple of picks in the NFL draft are huge. Right? So your first round pick, your second round pick, your third round pick, you better get those right, and your first round pick better have a higher success rate than the other two. So, we'll see. I hope I'm wrong, man.
Yeah.
Like I've never hoped I'm wrong. Like I hope Lawrence can get to the passer. I hope.
Right.
Well, that's known that he
proves me
can't.
wrong.
He's a run stuffer.
Well, he did. A couple of years ago, he had a pretty good season. They said he got a little banged up, right? And then maybe he had a couple of other guys on the line, so that wasn't what was asked of him. Maybe the kid could box him into a pass rusher.
I've heard.
I don't really hope so. But what's up with
t-
B.J. Hill? I mean, B.J. Hill is good. Why did we go
like him.
tackle twice?
Well, there's another thing, right? So you have Davlin, you have Tomlinson, you have Hill, and that's a position where maybe you could have addressed it later, maybe you could have addressed it in free agency, maybe there's a cut or something coming in training camp where you can bring in a couple of guys that can fill a role as a run stopper and especially for a team that's not going to win now, like that's a piece that you can maneuver around, right? Because you're playing in packages. Like it's not 1985 where you have your 3-4 set or your 4-3 set for first and second down, and then the nickel package is coming in only on third down. This is your nickel is playing. Your pass rushers are on the field the majority of the time. The offense is in the shotgun the majority of the time. It's spread offenses now. So how often are you going to use that player? He's going to be a situational guy, and if he doesn't develop into a pass rush, was he worth it at 17? I don't know.
So I've talked to two former Giants players who were on the defensive line, Fred Robbins being one, and I talked to another one off the air. He doesn't want to be mentioned, but they both said, and Fred Robbins even told me before the draft, he would be a steal if the Giants get him anywhere in the first round. He's that good.
Who, Lawrence?
Dexter Lawrence, yeah.
Good. Hey, you know what?
So hopefully this is. I
hope so.
I
know he has some nerve some nerve damage in his knee. He's 320, 340 pounds. He's a big man, right?
Yeah. Supposedly he's going to try to drop some weight, which might be helpful. But he's big, he's huge, and he's strong like a bull.
He's a huge dude. Yeah, and again, I think that he's going to do his job on first and second down against the run. I think he's going to do his job. I think he'll be really good at what he does. But for that value at 17, I would have liked to have get a guy that can that I know can get to the quarterback, right? And while I like what he does, I have to hope that he develops into a guy that can consistently get to the quarterback, or a guy that wreaks enough havoc in the middle of the field where it makes some guys around him get some openings, and then they can get to the quarterback. But he needs to be an impact player.
Yeah, I like Baker.
Not just a situational guy.
I like the Baker pick. I think it's probably the steal of the draft for us. The Jones pick is
that kid. That kid is going to give us a lot of quotes.
Love too.
Love's a player too. These are two. Those are. We might have a nice little secondary in a few years. Yeah.
Oh, and if Beal shapes out compared to what they were hyping him up last year, oh man.
And the theory of grabbing your quarterback at 6 is absolutely correct. If you want a quarterback, you don't wait for him to drop to you. I just don't know if Jones is him. That's Gettleman's job right there.
Thing. That's it, and Gettleman will either be a rock star or he'll be unemployed. Because to me, I agree. I agree with.
All right,
be good, buddy. You
eat those burgers.
Barbecue. Have a good nice paprika burger. Yeah, be good. I think that, my thing wasn't, if you have conviction on the quarterback, you take the quarterback. I had a problem with the quarterback that they had.
that they took. All right, everyone. Right, here we go. Ready for the next one? Let's guess where he's calling from.
We got 2 calls and not one prediction for who's on the throne.
No, not one. We're going all Game of Thrones from this moment on. Ready? What's going on, 817? What's your name?
Hey, how you doing, man? It's Joe.
Joe, where you calling
What's up,
from?
Joe?
Man, I'm calling from Dallas, Fort Worth, man.
Oh, there we go.
Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas, how about this? Who's going to be sitting on the Iron Throne come Sunday night?
Man, it's gonna be Eli.
Eli. Jesus Christ.
Eli. It's gonna be Eli.
From the
man.
House of Delusion.
Let me tell you why. I've been listening to y'all guys. Man. I'm a big
Tell me.
Giants. I'm the biggest Giants fan they got down here. But I have all this headaches from these Cowboys fans down here every week.
Are you the only Giants fan they have down there?
Nah, we pretty deep down here. We pretty deep. You guys.
Okay, cool. Good.
But listen, I got a question for you guys. Like, I argue with these Cowboy fans all the time. What I'm saying is, I hear what y'all saying about the picks and the draft and all that, but I believe that Dallas, the Giants had scored the most points in the NFC East this year, right?
Oh, dude, but don't you get yourself in trouble with those Cowboy fans down there with that shit.
I was going to ask a question, right? We scored the most points, so with the defense that we picked, we really had to apply our picks to the defense. You know what I'm saying? Because the defense lost us a lot of games, and then Eli, you know, so he's not that bad. He ain't had no offensive line. You know what I'm saying? So with the picks they did, I believe our defense, Jenkins going to be good. He's a shutdown corner. Baker's going to be a shutdown corner. Landon Collins was a great player. I love Landon Collins up to death, but he always came up in the box. He always got beat deep. So with Peppers playing with us now, we won't get beat deep no more. Right?
We hope so.
I
hope so.
I mean, I hope so too.
This is what I got. This is what I got to say
Ed
to you.
Reed, you know, I mean, he's not Ed Reed. He struggled a little bit in Cleveland. You're hoping that we see his upside. You're hoping that he goes to another level. Yes, I agree. I'm praying that he goes to another level.
I agree with that.
He's flashed.
But I think
He's flashed.
talent. He has the talent.
He's flashed.
You know
He
what I'm
has
saying?
some talent.
And-
He does a lot of things well, and I think that you make that move hoping that you're getting the upside of what's to come with him. So I'm praying with you.
Yeah,
I got you.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And the receivers that we got, you know, Golden Tate. No, he's not Odell Beckham. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that. Yes, but he's a great person, great catcher. He can get the ball and make yards after the catch. But I still have a lot of faith in Evan Ingram. You know what I'm saying? Evan Ingram, he can line up at tight end or he can line up wide. You know, so if Eli got blockers and with Saquon Barkley in the backfield, I think we got a lot of weapons on offense that make a team be worried about us. And Daniel Jones, I didn't like the pick either. But he's going to be a great. I think he's going to be a great player. You know what I'm saying? If he learn the system and everything, he's going to be a great player in the future. But
If you think he's going to be, if you think he's going to be a great player, why don't you like the pick?
I think we could have gotten him in 17. We should have got someone. We should have got somebody like Baker or some early, in the 6th or 17th pick, and got Daniel Jones later. It's just they got the picks all wrong. I think that's a great first round pick.
Would you wait on a great pick? You would wait for him to come to you?
The reason I say they didn't wait they thought Denver was going to get him, and they thought the Patriots was going to get him for sure. They said Patriots was going to pick him up. So that's why they went on and got him at 6. And you know how they said he was trained by the same people Eli and Peyton was trained by for the last 4 years. You know, and they think they were great quarterbacks, great systems. So you know that's why they picked him up. 6'6", guy runs. He's 6'6", he can run the ball. I think he's a great player.
Well, I hope you're higher than him. You're higher on him than I am. I'll tell you that much.
I'm not high on him because I believe I want Eli to start our season. I want Eli the opportunity to play behind a good line. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe everything that happened and making Eli look bad is all his fault. You know what I'm saying? He's been struggling with his line for the last couple of years. So I can't put all the blame on Eli. And then Eli going to put up 30 points a game the last 7 or 8 games of the season, and the defense still allowed 30 points. That's not Eli's fault.
But did you see the first 8 games of the season?
I did.
Okay, so can we admit that the defense played above their heads and kept us in a lot of games, the first 8 games of the season?
They did. But
okay.
do you want to put this in consideration that this was a brand new offense for him too, brand new head coach, a brand new system?
No, because I expect. Here's my thing: if I'm paying my quarterback $23 million a year, then I expect him to make enough plays if my defense is keeping me in the game.
Jay.
Here's
We didn't have an offensive line. You're right. But we
no,
didn't have an
we,
offensive line.
we had a. Let me tell you, guys.
The only games we were
Our
in
offensive
against
line
backup
was
quarterbacks.
Not that bad. Okay,
Huh?
it was not that. The offensive line was not that bad. Okay, do we want them to be better? 110%. Was Flowers sufficient at right tackle? No.
Yeah, Flowers was terrible. He was terrible.
It was awful. It was awful. Okay. It
That
was
was a bad
neglect
pick.
putting him out on the field. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I
but
agree.
how many? But guys, when you go back and watch the film, and if you go back and watch it, okay, the first 8 games of the year, there are throws that are left on the field where the protection wasn't the problem.
So
Right?
what was it? What were you saying,
where
like-
there's plenty of room to step up in the pocket, and there's plays left on the field where a guy's coming free over the middle, and the ball's at his feet.
Wait, okay, I'm making excuses for him because I don't know.
And that's what I don't want you to do because you're in
You know what I'm saying?
prime
But
enemy territory, and I don't need you getting hurt
Yeah,
down
yeah.
there, buddy.
No,
I'm trying to help you. When you
gotta
start
understand,
talking
you gotta
about them
understand.
having the most points, like they're gonna laugh at us.
They
Like,
had the most
we
points.
Talk about
They had the most points
We lost the most games
in the
we
NFC.
Lost the most games.
In the NFC East,
who
where
fought
we
with
were
that?
16th
Defense?
overall. It's
And
not
the
like
defense-
it's
but I'm
not like
saying,
we were killing it.
The points forward. Remember, I'm saying.
Let me ask you something though.
How
How many of those points were scored? Have you seen? Here's what because you probably follow Bleedbigblue. I don't know if you follow me, but if you probably
I follow
Bleed
everybody.
Big
I
Blue.
follow
So
everything. John,
after the show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Marcos a little thing that I got. It's a little meme thing, and what it does is it breaks down Eli's stats through the first 8 games through by quarter. Okay, and what you see is that the first 3 quarters are god fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth quarter, he lights it up. Why? Because he's playing a prevent defense. So how many of those points were just shit?
No,
How many of those yards he threw for were just shit?
I think he progressed because the offense and everybody jailed. You know. 'Cause,
Well, that's the
I mean,
hope,
I'm listening-
right? That's the bill
I'm
of guilt.
listening-
That's the
I'm
bill of
listening to
goods we're
everybody
being
right now
sold.
about Daniel Jones. Everybody wanted us to get the quarterback last year, and they was mad about Saquon Barkley. They didn't want us to get Saquon Barkley.
Still
but
am.
Saquon Barkley was the best. I think it was the best pick we ever picked. We had to get
No.
Saquon.
It's
Well,
wrong.
who we should have got? We should have got. Who do you think we should have got?
You take when you're picking second in that draft, and you have a bad roster. There are two
the
things
draft
to do.
wasn't ready for. It wasn't a quarterback in that draft ready.
What?
It wasn't the quarterback. Baker was gone, and I still didn't
What?
believe Baker was going to be this good.
Oh.
Oh boy.
So you're not sold on any of the. Hold on, wait a minute. So you don't like any of the other quarterbacks?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well then I can't win the argument with you.
Yeah,
If you-
I would say I don't like him. I don't say I don't like him. I just don't think they was good enough to come to the Giants to take over Eli's spot.
Mm-hmm.
But of course they're not now.
So Rosen, Darnold,
But
none of those
you're
guys.
taking. But here's the thing: when you have
Rosen,
you have a bad team that Eli can't win with. So do you continue to pay him hand over fist, or do you address the fact and say we're in a position to do either one of two things: get ourselves a quarterback for the next 15 to 16 years, or recognize that we have a shit roster and trade out of this spot for somebody who wants the quarterback for the next 15 and 16 years. What you don't do on a bad roster is take a running back and then proceed to make him the 5th highest paid player at his position, at a position that has a very short shelf life, and there's no evidence that the running back position equates to wins in the NFL, which is obvious from last year when he broke all those records and we won 2 more games.
Yep, I hear you.
So Saquon is the sexy pick. It's the Giants are going to be on Sports Center pick. It's the Giants may win some ESPYs pick, but it's not the pick that's the best thing for your franchise for the next 15 years.
I'm gonna throw you.
Not a referendum on Saquon Barkley. He is a leader. He's a phenomenal fucking football player. The sky is the limit for the kid. You have to be able to look at it through 2 different spectrums.
What,
The player
James?
for what he is, which is a phenom, and then the value that you took the player at for the position he plays. Horse
James,
is a different color.
what did I say the day they drafted him? What's gonna happen? Who's gonna become the face of the franchise? Who will we saying goodbye to?
Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna throw you on hold. We got another call.
Hey man,
631. Where are we calling from? Hello. Long Island. All right. What's on your mind, brother?
I was gonna talk about Game of Thrones.
Finally.
Yeah.
Who's sitting on the throne? Who's gonna sit on the throne?
Well, I honestly think Jon Snow's gonna be sitting on the throne.
You think Jon Snow, huh?
Yes, Jon Snow. Because first off, I gotta say that episode actually shocked me, like OD shocked me. I wasn't expecting her to do what she did, and a lot of my friends accept that what she did, and they love what she did. But I didn't like what she did. Well, what's your thought? What's your thought on that episode when she did what she did?
I
Loved it.
You loved it too?
Yeah, I didn't mind it at
I
all.
loved it. I was when the bells tolled, I was actually yelling at my television.
Burn
Burn
him.
them all! Burn them all, Daenerys!
No.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I don't know any of those people that live in King's Landing. Fuck them. Did you see how they cheered Ned Stark when he was getting killed? Yeah, I want no part of those people. They had what's coming to them.
But honestly, who else would not shield you? If you're in that town, you're terrified of the Lannisters. You're terrified. You got it.
Well, they said it in the beginning of the episode, right? Well, you got to look what's been going on, gentlemen, right? Like everybody's been saying, they haven't been saying that this came out of nowhere. No, it hasn't. Right? She's lit bitches up before, and then like the last couple of episodes, she's been noticing like everybody loves Jon, right? That she's all by herself. She lost Mormont. She lost Melisandre, or whatever her name is. Melisandre told her what she said. Dracarys, light these bitches up. Her final words, right? She's all by herself. Jon Snow fucking is the true heir. She says, don't say anything. He says something. Her hand knows. Her hand goes behind her back. She's like, you know what? I don't have the love of these people. What do I have? I got a fucking dragon. So they're going to fear me. And she lit them bitches up like a Christmas tree.
She mowed through everyone, too.
Oh, it was so great.
I didn't think they would die. I didn't think what she called would die. In this episode, at least. Jamie,
Cersei?
his sister.
Yeah.
Cersei, I didn't think they were going to die.
I had a problem with. I didn't like the way they died.
Yeah, I wanted them to go out a little better.
Like I had no I had no problem with. Here's what I would have liked. I had no problem with the Euron Jamie fight. Right? I thought, okay, he's gonna kill him, and then Jamie's wounded.
Yeah, but that was out of nowhere though.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, they just threw it in. Like eventually, they just find each other there. All of a sudden, Euron's there. But whatever, I can live with that, right? I can suspend belief for that situation. Okay, they bumped into each other. They had the fight. Jamie's wounded. He's going to die. That's it. But he has to get to Cersei. He gets to Cersei. Here's what I wanted to see. I wanted Cersei to fucking like become enraged that like they're going to be the ones to kill me, right? Like they got me, and I don't want like you're dying, right? I have nothing in this world to live for. They're going to kill me and the baby. I can't let them get to me. Jamie, kill me. And I thought Jamie should have killed her and they should have bled out together. Right in that room. Right in the room with the map on the floor. You're looking up at them. They're bleeding out, holding each other. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Scene. Right?
I thought that Jamie would have died in front of her. And then
I wanted Cersei to bleed a little bit.
She wasn't to bleed. I thought Arya was going to come through.
I had no problem with Arya going back, but I wanted to see Jamie like give her the.
I don't think Jamie has the heart or the balls to do that.
No, but if she would have told him, right, like we're dying here, like I don't want like we're gonna die, right? They're gonna get me. They're gonna capture me. I have the baby. Like you're gonna die. Like I'm gonna watch you die here. If I'm lucky enough to live through this, like just let's go together. We came into this world together. Let's go out together. You take me, and we bleed out together. That you know what I'm saying? Like they could have gave you like a fucking one last fucking Cersei. Like I will not let them take our baby. Like fucking kill me, right? Like some shit like that, bro. Could have been great.
Everyone wants us to review the bull, the Clegane Bull. So
Clegane, they want to awesome.
Stabbed him
Right?
in the head,
I thought
nothing
it was
happened.
pretty cool. I thought it was awesome how he kept stabbing him and nothing would happen.
Yeah, it was shocking to me. I thought he was gonna just die. Like, there's no way you're gonna be able to kill him. Like, it's pointless. You stabbed him in the brain. You stabbed him in the heart. You stabbed him anywhere you could possibly stab him. But then this happened. He just, you know what? Let me just spear him through the brick wall into the fire and just land splattered.
Yeah,
probably not
I
even
thought
dead.
it was. I thought it went the way it had to go. I didn't think there was any way, unless he decapitated him. Like, I thought maybe that was. I thought there was a vicious, like he was gonna grab a sword and turn around and just swing like a last desperate thing and end up taking his head off, and the mountain goes falling into the fire or some shit. But I guess he had to die, and that was, that shit happened with the fire. I guess when they were kids, and now the fire took them both out. I thought it was. I thought it was cool. But I love when he had him against the wall and he was just fucking stabbing him.
The only problem I had with the whole series.
And here's what.
Here's my.
I got one problem with the Clegane Bowl.
Here's my only problem with the series. That Daenerys started off with no clothes on, and now at the end of the series she's basically in a knight's uniform. I'm like, what is
now
going
they have her
on?
in like a fucking nun's outfit.
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully the Mad Queen
now
was
she's
a little
clergy.
Provocative in the last episode. No, here's the one problem I had with the Clegane Bowl. At no point did he call his brother a cunt.
Yeah,
He had to get that in there.
That's all I wanted. I mean, he's famous for it. I mean, right? That's his line. I want, when he was up against the wall, I wanted to hear that one last, see you next Tuesday, and I didn't get it.
All right, let's go to our. Thanks for the call. I'm going to throw you on hold. Let's go to the next one at 516.
So he said Jon Snow's going to be on
he said Jon Snow.
Right? That was his prediction.
Yes.
I don't see that. I think that's way too obvious, right, Marcos?
Yeah, I don't think it's so.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, buddy?
Not much. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
All right. What about what if you were Bran Stark and you could org into Dave Gettleman right before the draft?
Ooh, now we're talking.
Let's mix it up. There we go.
Go back in time. We can go back in time. Let's say this is what happens. All right, let's say you draft Josh Allen at number 6. At number
Can I go back
17,
further?
You're going 2
Go
years?
ahead, I'll go with you.
We can go back further.
I'm going 2 years ago, but go ahead. I wanted to take him over from the beginning, but you go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
Well, what about you draft Josh Allen? Let's say you still draft Dexter Lawrence at number 17. I still think he's a good player. And you get DeAndre Baker where you get him. But instead of getting Daniel Jones, we make a trade with the Cardinals for Josh Rosen in the second round, and we get a steal like the Dolphins did. Are you happy with everything to this point? Then at that point,
Yeah, I think that I don't know that I'm happy with everything, because I try to judge each move by itself on its own merit and then put them all together and see. But I think that if they would have walked away with that package, now I don't know how you get Allen, Lawrence, Baker, and Rosen, because I think that 37 you would have had to use that to trade up to get Baker, or you would have had to use that to get Rosen. So that. But here, I'll tell you this much, okay? If you could have came up with two different things, if you could have done exactly what you did, okay, and then maybe coupled pick 95 with a second rounder or a third rounder next year to get Rosen, I would have been fine with it. If you would have said that you do everything the same and nothing different, you do Josh Allen, Lawrence on through as it happened, okay, no quarterback, I'm even fine with that. And here's why. Because what it does is you've sold me that Eli and the offensive line are fine now, right? So obviously you're bringing Eli Manning back. So if you go all defense and use the picks in that respect and use them, replace Daniel Jones with Josh Allen and keep everything else the same, then what it does is it signals to me that, okay, we've built the defense in a very strong defensive draft with some good prime players. You're fine bringing Eli back, even though I disagree with it, and we'll address the quarterback situation in 2020. At
So
least at that point, you could see that there's a plan in place. To me, the Jones pick was desperate. That's why I have a
if
problem.
I had the, I'll throw a different spin on it. If I had the ability of Brand to warg, I'm going back a few years into John Mara, and I'm going to give my GM and my head coach the green light to draft Patrick Mahomes. You're taking
Trade up
Mahomes.
to get Mahomes.
You're going to get your quarterback situation done. Eli would be coming off the books, traded or cut, something along that line. Don't give me the he has a no trade clause bullshit. He would have been off the team. You wouldn't have to worry about that. You had a top ranked defense that let you down, but still the pieces were there, and that would have been it. That you would have been set.
I would have probably
Reese would have still been there. Reese would have still been there. McAdoo would have still been in there.
Guys,
It would have been a good move.
Would Coughlin and Reese still be there?
If what happened?
I think that they botched the Coughlin thing big time. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a different way to do that, and I think that that's where Mara started this huge downfall that he's been on ever since. I think that you could have very easily, like the position that he is in right now, you can't tell me that there wasn't a way to usher him into that position or have a conversation to get him into that position, but so it didn't happen the way it did. If you felt that that his voice was stale and you needed a change of coach, I could respect that after a decade. But there was a way to make that situation better, or make it happen in a different way.
I mean, but Jason Carrot is still the coach of the Cowboys, and Tom Coughlin got fired. Basically.
Yeah, but that doesn't. But just because they're running their franchise bad doesn't mean we should run ours bad, right? Like I think that when you get to Coughlin was there for a decade, he won his 2 Super Bowls. The team was struggling at the end of it. You have an older coach with younger players coming in. So I don't think that, again, I like Tom Coughlin, but, sometimes a change of voice is needed. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing. I think that the decision where they screwed up was, 1, how they handled that situation, and 2, just handing the job, to Ben McAdoo because of his relationship with Eli Manning. And I think that started the whole what's good for Eli trend that we've seen over the last couple of years that basically it lasted right up to the number 6 pick in the draft where they, brought in, his clone, Daniel Jones.
That's another situation where the Giants were afraid of what someone else was doing rather than worrying about what their franchise was doing. They got nervous because McAdoo was already going to be interviewing with the Eagles, and he was a high priority for them to land. So that's when they came out with that.
See, I heard a great quote the other day. It said the Giants weren't looking for the next great quarterback. They were looking for the best person to replace Eli Manning. And I think that those are, because if you bring in a great quarterback, I want to hear Daniel Jones say, the job is mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem with Josh Rosen and Dwayne Haskins and Sam Darnold and guys like that is they would have came in and said, I'm here to compete as the starter for the starting job. The job, as far as I know, I plan on being the starter. I'm preparing to start week 1. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear that I'm here to be a good, learn,
student,
and be a good troop, and help us win games. I got pick 6. I'm here to fucking play.
I think Haskins is. Honestly, I think Haskins is a little bit overrated. To be honest with you. And regardless of how they turn out, right? I'm talking about the mindset of I am here to fucking start because I am the man, right? That alpha mentality that you want your quarterback to have. And I think the dangerous thing that the Giants did, and when I say the next great quarterback, I don't know that necessarily you can predict any of these guys and just say they're going to be great. I think that the intention is that you're looking for greatness, right? What are the attributes that these kids have? What are the skills that they have? There's the potential to make them great.
And I don't think the Giants were necessarily looking for that. I think the Giants were looking for the best person to possibly replace Eli Manning, and along came Daniel Jones, and they couldn't possibly have him pass them because he was the perfect replacement and the guy that would go along with the plan. Because anybody else that came in here would have had that little chip on their shoulder and that little arrogance that said, the job is mine.
Hey, maybe if
They
Eli,
don't want to deal with that shit.
maybe if Eli's underperforming, we might hear from a more confident Jones. Supposedly, his teammates say he plays with fire.
Don't kick the guy when he's down. Like, don't wait for Eli to be struggling and the media to be fucking at his throat and then be like, oh yeah, I'm the man now.
Hey, when you see opportunity, you gotta grab it. When you see opportunity, you gotta grab it.
The opportunity is now. You got drafted 6th. Like, if that's not the fucking opportunity, then I don't know what it is. Like, you got drafted 6th in the NFL draft. 6th. Like, there's your opportunity. You shouldn't give a shit about Eli Manning. Because I got news for you. Talk about this mentor stuff. Eli doesn't give a shit about Daniel Jones. You're not going to see much of a mentorship.
You saw that, right?
Help him.
You saw the latest quotes?
But Marco, I saw the quotes months ago when Eli said, I have no desire to be a mentor. That's not his job. Like Montana did not mentor Young. Favre did not mentor Rodgers. If these guys are ready, they're going to be ready. That's not why they drafted Jones. They drafted Jones because I'm going to go along with the plan guy, and I would never disrespect Eli Manning.
Speaking of chips on the shoulder, we're gonna get to see, Dwayne Haskins and Landon Collins, every year, 2 times a year for the next 10 years. So that's gonna be awesome.
Well, maybe
Collins only 5.
Gio and Boomer. Did you see Collins on Boomer and Gio talking about he's got the next 6 years circled on his calendar there?
Yeah,
that wasn't fun to hear. That wasn't fun to hear.
Nope.
Yeah. And Haskins too. I mean, we all know Haskins was a Giant fan. He would have loved to have come here, but it was all for naught. And now we'll see if those guys can. Either the Giants are going to be laughing or the Redskins are going to be laughing. But they're going to be tied together because if Jones is lighting up Collins and Haskins can't beat the Giants or beat Jones, then the Giants are going to have the last laugh on this thing. If Collins ends up being the player he was a couple of years ago and gets back to that form and can turn that defense, which is already pretty decent, if he can contribute to that defense being pretty good, and then Haskins makes that team go to the next level and comes through and it progresses and becomes a good, solid quarterback, then, the Giants are going to have a lot of egg on their face. Especially if Jones doesn't turn out to be good.
Right. The whole Collins thing has me. I think I took him more personally than actually Odell getting traded. Odell, I saw what was happening.
Well, it didn't make sense. Yeah, the Collins thing just didn't make sense to me, and I was screaming it like when they signed Odell. I was furious because to me that was Landon Collins' money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was the guy that was up at the time and the guy that you should have been looking to have a conversation to say, hey, before you hit the open market, here's 5 years at $45 million, and you give the guy 9 years or 5 years at $48 million, and he flirts between $9 and $10 million a year, and you lock him up long term, and now you have that position under market value locked up, and one of your leaders on your defense, a guy that you use all over the place. Like, I don't want to hear like that he was a box safety. Like I hate, like when people say that shit, like I really question their football acumen, because the Giants didn't use him as a box safety. The Giants used him all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the fact that how you use this guy, you probably used him to his strengths and in other places where you knew he wasn't the best, but places where you had to use him for. You had a chance to lock him up long term, under market value, and you let him walk away for nothing to a division rival. You didn't even choose to control where he was going.
And trade him, exactly.
By trading him at the trade deadline.
Just bad GM.
Maybe if you trade him to the AFC and he has a good experience to end the season and he's, close with that team and they have cap space, maybe they re-sign him and now he's out of your division and he's out of your hair. Instead, Here
You're
he
going to
is.
be looking at him for the next 6 years. Man, such a bad move. Such bad GMing. At least go to the guy. Say, we're going to move in another direction. You don't say anything. You let him hang. Let him hang out. Don't get anything for him. It's bad.
It's ridiculous.
That's your boy.
I know.
That is it. All right, we hit the hour mark. Look at that. A little round of applause.
Boom.
Oh man, I didn't even use one sound effect this episode. How about that? See, anyone in the chat want to bring anything up? Nope.
Speak now or forever hold it thou peace.
Game of Thrones predictions, James. Want to end it on that note? Everyone's favorite topic.
I put my name on it last night. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think it would be pretty cool. I think Ira kills Daenerys with Jon's face, right? So I think that Jon. I think there's gonna be this big to do. I think that Jon will pledge, his faith to her, knowing that she's a crazy bitch. He's gonna have to stab her. Right? He stabs her. The guards are like, oh, he killed the queen. They take out Jon, and then we see Jon somewhere else, and we find out that, boom, it's Ira. She did it, and it's her, and she pulls they pull Jon's face off, and boom, there it is. And then some crazy shit happens with Bran in time. Who knows? That's what I'm going with.
Did you see that video I sent you?
That's all I got.
Of the leak?
Yes.
What do you think? Don't say it, but what do you think of that?
Who could, possible.
Skeptical, yeah.
I've seen that in other places before. It wouldn't surprise me. I did hear that they filmed 2 different endings, though.
Oh, you did?
I heard that they filmed 2 different endings. So I don't know what is true and what they've put out and what's not true. I'm hoping to be surprised for the better.
Yeah, so far I wasn't surprised. I knew she was going to burn everyone up. I think the surprise would be if Jon Snow is on the scene.
Surprises. I think that right now that would be a huge surprise for me.
That would be surprising. I'd be like, oh.
I think Jon is either dead. Or he goes, and I think they're going to find out that the Night King is not dead and that he can come back, and that Jon's going to have to go and they're going to have to rebuild the wall, or Bran's going to go back in time, and that's going to be that Bran the Builder who built the wall years ago. Like, he's going to go and stay there, and then he'll be the guy that helps them or tells them how to build the wall so they build it back up or whatever the fuck. So I think some crazy shit like that will happen as well.
There's a few Captain Negative takes the throne. Are you gonna?
That's right.
You taking the throne? Am I gonna be forced to?
Fucking throne.
Am I gonna be forced to the black?
Usurper. You don't want to be a usurper.
All right, everyone. That's it with this in-depth podcast about Game of Thrones.
King of the North.
King of the North. All right, I'll go with a little. I'll stick with my prediction of Sansa and Tyrion.
Can I tell you that I loved your predict? I love the visual of her trying to burn Jon and him not burning. I think that's good. I think that's cool as shit. Mm-hmm. Give me that.
Yeah, I think that would be a good moment. Like, tries him for treason, tries to burn the shit out of him with the dragon, and like he's just like there. He's like, bro, I'm you. You can't do that.
You just yep.
Doesn't work.
Nope. Yep. Like I would like to see that happen, and then the fire, and he's standing, and she's shocked, and he kills her. But then, like, that leaves the question, like, all right, now there's a huge fucking dragon that's pissed. You just killed its mother. Like, does it get mad because he's not, like, he's a Targaryen, right? So
are they like
the dragon? Like, oh shit.
Are they loyal like dogs?
Bitch. I got you. I don't know.
Are they loyal like wolves?
We're gonna find out. I would be concerned though. Like, before I would stab Daenerys, I would need to know where Drogon is. right? Like I don't want to, because even if the fire could elude me, if he was hungry or something, like you don't want to mess with the dragon. So like, have Bran warg into him or some shit, fly him away before you start stabbing people. So we'll see what happens.
Telling you, Cersei should have been looking for dragon eggs wherever she went. She'd be like, anyone find me a dragon egg? Anyone got one?
Yep. Need one.
They're giving them
It's
away.
better to have a dragon egg than to not.
Right. Yep, that is it. I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. It was about Jon Snow.
Jones, he's a bastard. Well, he's not a bastard anymore.
No.
I think I liked him better as a bastard, though. Are they going to start calling him by his real name? Like, at any point? Like, is he going to be Aegon? Like, what's going on?
Samuel Tarly
Like, everybody knows,
ends up
but
the
nobody
king.
cares.
Bob Hill.
Hilarious.
Pretty funny. Because of what Danny did, John will change his mind and take the throne. Maybe. Chris Moran, good show, guys.
Ooh.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, show. Thanks, Chris.
All right, everyone. We will see you post Game of Thrones finale. And talk to you all later on in the week. Peace out.